This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 68-inch.
On this week's episode, it's part 2 of our interview with the great John Bermuda Schwartz about his brand new upcoming book, Black and White and Weird All Over.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Yesterday, August 18th, was Bermuda's birthday, so happy birthday, Bermuda.
Happy birthday, Bermuda!
A year ago, Ethan, for Bermuda's birthday, we were both in Seattle, doing things like riding the monorail, slinging fish, putting bubble gum on walls, and ranking pretzel condiments.
Yes, and Bermuda was doing things like performing in Airway Heights, Washington. And by the way, if you want to hear about us slinging fish and putting gum on walls, check out Strings Attached to our bonus episode 24 Centimeter, because we talk all about our day off in Seattle and the hijinks that we got up to.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun getting to hang out just a day off without having to go see Weird Al. I'm sad we didn't get to see Weird Al. I'm sad we didn't get to wish Bermuda happy birthday on his birthday. But, it was a lot of fun to get to just do something fun and crazy like that and spend all day in Seattle.
Yeah, and, I think as much fun as we had, we would have preferred to go see another Weird Al show, but that one was just so far out of the way compared to the Canadian shows, it just didn't make sense. So I'm really glad at how it worked out, because that was so much fun, seeing the Space Needle, going to the Pop Culture Museum. It was a really fun day.
Well, we have more with Bermuda this week, and we're going to hear part 2 of our interview with Bermuda later this episode, but first we have a lot to catch up on.
Yes, so last week, on Friday, August 14th, the Grammy-nominated podcast theme writer Jim Kimo West's brand new album More Guitar Stories was released.
I'm so excited to get my copy. I ordered it the day it went on sale. I haven't received my copy yet, but I'm so anxious to get it.
Yes, so I'm sure you'll get it soon, Dave, because mine just arrived. And it's awesome. The CD it's really nice. The cover art's really great. So along with the CD, I also got an autographed postcard that says Grammy Award nominated, which is very important. And I got a brand new Aloha guitar pick, which is really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Now, if anyone has not ordered it yet, head over to jimkimowest.com and order that right now. It's free shipping. So besides the brand new Jim Kimo West album, what else is going on in Weird Al news?
Well, first of all, out of all people for Al to be involved with, the legendary actor Ed Asner, he's doing his 8th annual Ed Asner and Friends poker tournament in collaboration with the World Poker Tour on August 29th. Now, Al's not actually playing poker in that tournament, but he did sign a jersey that will be auctioned off in a silent auction. So for more information on that, visit pokerwithed.com.
I was so hoping that Al was going to be playing poker. How cool would that be?
That would be pretty cool, but I want to see what this signed jersey is, because that could be interesting,
Yeah, I think it would be, but I would just love to see Al's polka face.
You mean poker face?
No, his polka face.
His poker face.
Now, August 29th is going to be a busy day, because Al has also announced he will be a guest at the virtual Lucille Ball Comedy Festival. The festival started last week, and it's going to feature an amazing lineup, including some Al-centric guests, including Margaret Cho, Howie Mandel, Jay Leno, and Dave, your favorite, Penn Jillette.
Oh, I love Penn Jillette. Al will be appearing at the virtual comedy festival via an interview conducted by celebrity super fans, both Jimmy Fallon and Lin-Manuel Miranda. The interview will air live on Saturday, August 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For more info, check out comedycenter.org.
Yes, and it will be free, so anyone can check that out. It's not going to cost you any money.
Now, what could Al possibly have in common with Lucille Ball?
Not much. The only things I can think of are Al has that parody of Mickey called Ricky, all about I Love Lucy, and the music video parodying the show. And Al produced a project spawning both a video special and album called Babalu Music. And, of course, On the cover of John Bermuda Schwartz's brand new book, Al's Get Up from the I Love Rocky Road video features him wearing a button that says, I love Lucy. But yeah, I'm not sure how it could actually have any connection to Al.
What an odd choice to interview Al. Jimmy Fallon and Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's not like Jimmy ever opened for Al and is not a huge celebrity fan of Al and has not had Al on his show multiple times. And it's not like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Al aren't best friends or anything like that. So this is going to be a really fun event. I mean, Al's going to be talking passionately about Lucille Ball. And he's going to have Jimmy and Lin-Manuel to bounce ideas off of. It's going to be really fun.
So, talking about all this stuff that was announced last week, but speaking of last week, Dave, where were you at 1 p.m. Eastern last Wednesday?
Oh, I was clicking refresh like crazy on my new favorite website.
blackandwhiteandweird.com?
No, that's not the one.
Oh, blackandwhiteandweirdallaver.com?
No, that's not the one either. It's shakewell.com.
Shakewell.com, spelled SHAKEWELLE.com?
Yeah, that's the one. SHAKEWELLE.com.
What a coincidence! I was there too. I was clicking through doors and listening to great music.
Oh, those doors are a lot of fun. It's like one of those choose your own adventure books from when we were kids. Like when I was a kid in the 80s and you were a kid in the 90s, Ethan. Oh, those books. I had so much fun with those books. You pick your adventure and then you keep going down and every time you read it, it's a new adventure. Just like those doors.
Yeah, depending on what order you click the doors, then it either brings you to more doors or maybe even get a reward like a video or an image. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could spend hours clicking on those doors, and each time it's like going on a different adventure.
Or you could spend hours clicking and going on the same adventure.
I urge all of our listeners to head on over to shakewell.com. That's SHAKEWELLE.com.
Oh, hey, wasn't 1 p.m. Eastern last Wednesday also when pre-order started for the special box set edition of Black and White and Weird All Over?
Yes, it was, because on my second browser, I was refreshing that website like crazy.
Hey, me too. What a coincidence. Yeah, last Wednesday, that whole process of pre-ordering and the anticipation and then watching as it was selling out was such a blast.
Oh, yeah, it was very stressful, but it was a blast. I mean, I was refreshing, and I got on like the second it came on, and I was refreshing, and I ended up with order number 52, and I ordered within like a minute. Like, I was like surprised how fast that this book was selling out, the special edition book.
Yeah, so all in all, it sold out in just under 2 hours, which is amazing.
Wow, that is pretty stinking majestic.
Yeah, it was really fun. You know, you mentioned your order 52. A lot of our listeners, friends, and other Al fans were posting their order numbers. So some people had order number 251 and beyond, and they were freaking out. But then it came to light that the order numbers started not at number 1, but at 27.
Oh, so if they started at number 27, that means I was actually the 26th person to order.
That's right. And I had order 31, so I was the 5th person to order. And it turns out our good friend Chad Kelson, a.k.a. Metal Al, was order number 27, a.k.a. the first person to buy a book.
How awesome. Congratulations, Metal Al.
Now, I'm wondering, Dave, since they are numbered 1 through 250, do you think we will get them in the order that we purchased, or do you think it's just going to be random?
I really hope that we get them in the order that we purchased, because it would be pretty cool for you to get number 5, but it'd be really cool if I got number 26, because you don't get much closer to 27 than 26.
Yes. I hope so.
Especially since we know that number 27 is reserved for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right. There's some other exciting news that came out regarding the book last week. Certain stores, typically the indie bookstores, indie record stores that are selling the books on release day, are going to have a limited number of exclusive postcards available with the book. Now, we don't have a whole lot of information on that, but once we do, we will share that on the podcast.
Well, it looks like, Ethan, that I'm going to be camping out at my favorite indie bookstore the night before the book is released, just to make sure I get some postcards.
Yes, absolutely. Now, once the postcards promotion came to light, people were freaking out saying, Bermuda, what else is coming? What other things do we need to anticipate? And so Bermuda confirmed that aside from the postcards, the only other special thing that is happening is that the bookstore called Book Soup in Hollywood, California, will have signed regular editions of the book available on release day.
Oh, that's really cool. So that's another reason for me to make a trip out to Hollywood. I can visit the Hollywood Star and I can pick up some signed copies at Book Soup.
Yes.
Now, obviously, this book is going to be in popular demand because, the special edition sold out in just under 2 hours. And not only that, but this book was trending #1 in celebrity photography. That is #1 on the Amazon bestsellers list. How awesome is that? Congratulations, Bermuda.
Yes, I think that's so awesome. And for people who aren't concerned about getting those indie store exclusive postcards and just want to pre-order the regular version of the book, it's currently under $26 on Amazon right now. So that's almost a $10 savings. Dave, I cannot wait for October 27th. It cannot come fast enough for me.
I can't wait to get my copy of the special edition book in my hands, and I can't wait to get a copy of the regular book. I can't wait to find those postcards, and I can't wait to head out to Hollywood and get my signed regular edition book. I'm so excited for this book to come out.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. All right, Dave, we've been teasing this since last week. People are clamoring. They cannot wait to hear this. This is what you've all been waiting for.
This week's episode is brought to you by our favorite vegan Mexican restaurant, Burrito in lovely Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla, Burrito. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito, your Burrito. Find them at burritosquared.com and at Burrito Squared on Instagram. And remember, not every burrito is a burrito, but every burrito can be burritoed.
Well, there it is. Oh, and also here is part 2 of our interview with John Bermuda Schwartz, already in progress from episode 67-inch.
You get a different view of it than, just sending in a Word file with, here's what I want for chapter 1, and this is my intro, and here's Al's foreword. By the way, the foreword is worth the price of the book alone. Actually, the foreword's worth about $27. The rest of it's worth the upgrade. Matthew, the publisher, said that may be the all-time best forward I've ever read.
Oh, wow. So excited for this book.
It's very sincere, but it's not without Al's brand of I don't even know if humor is the right word. I guess it is. I guess it's funny. No, it's very Al. It's very, very Al. And he said some very, very nice things in there, and some very funny things, and some very true things, and ended the whole thing with a very sort of funny, I don't know. It's Al. It's exactly what Al would say, and he did, and it's great. And we didn't touch it. We didn't change a thing. It was perfect, and so he's got the foreword in there, and then the book begins, and chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we didn't talk about the Living with a Hernia chapter. Now, there's not a teaser video for that, but it's on the set it's on the stage that we shot Living with a Hernia with. And I talk a little bit about that in the introduction to the chapter, because I don't know if anyone ever really talked about that. To my knowledge, there are no color photos shot at the video unless they were taken from the video itself for some reason. But I don't have any color photos, and I've never seen any.
Wow.
I believe the only photos shot on set were the ones I took. So people are seeing some of this. They're seeing this behind-the-scenes stuff for the first time. They're seeing, and I think it's one of the 9x12s also. It's one of the prints in the special edition box. They're seeing there's one of the shots before Al goes into the bridge. Now wait a minute. You may have heard of the different hernias. No, I don't sing it, so I don't know the words. Anyway, it's before he goes. He looks in the camera and he sort of like strolling off, really smoothly. Well, in case you couldn't guess, he's on a dolly, and they're pulling it, so he's, that's how he just sort of smoothly goes out of frame. Well,
right.
I'm sitting there, I have nothing to do, so I'm sitting there taking pictures of him on the dolly. You get to see that for the first time, as if you couldn't guess. So those are the kind of shots that are in here. I mean, there's a lot of shots where you really just see stuff that you don't see. You get to see him in the Rocky Road video, where he presses his face up against what's supposed to be the camera lens, and it's all squeezed out flat. Well, if you think about it, he's pushing up into a piece of glass or something. Well, I've got the picture. I'm not doing anything in that scene, so I've got the picture of him, with this piece of glass being held up by these two C-stands, cinema stands, and him pushing his face into it, and then the camera, shooting that. It's like, oh, that's cool. And so, honest to God, I had never seen that photo before because it was never printed. That was not one of the photos that was printed back in 1983, one of the handful. So I'm seeing all these photos for the first time. Al is seeing them for the first time, and the fans are seeing them for the first time, of course. So this has been a really cool process for me too. I mean, if I didn't do anything else with these photos except post a couple of them online and then just sort of stick them in the archive, it would have been a really cool thing. I mean, obviously every other color photo I've seen because they were all printed, but these were new to me, and that was the coolest thing about this whole process. And
if they're new to you, they're new to us.
And I'm glad there's an
That's right.
for it too. I mean, I was going to do it. I had done them anyway. I had them scanned anyway. But now the next step is to start working on these other 300 plus rolls of film, these colored film.
I was going to ask you, how many photos do you think you have in your collection total? And of those, how many were black and white? And of that, how many made the book?
Well, in my collection, I probably have 100,000 or more photos.
Wow.
Now, those were not all taken by me. Denise Fred, older, had taken a ton of live shots. Mm-hmm. Jackie Rossi, any relation? Rossi? Maybe.
Jackie Rossi, yeah.
She took a lot of photos. A lot of live shots. Adrian Vasquez. I mean, a bunch of people have taken a lot of shots over time, and those are all, in the archive, prints and digital. So, maybe 80,000 are photos that were, bestowed on me and by others, shots I could not possibly have taken, live shots. I say in the book, and it's probably more, but I say conservatively, I have taken 20,000 photos of Al and, our doings. Mm-hmm. And that's probably a low estimate. Of that, 635 were, no, really, and I don't mean SIXSUNDRED, I mean 635 were black and white. Out of those, I pared those down to 498 photos that were suitable, and when I say suitable, didn't have just obvious, just would not look good in print. I pared those down to 498, and out of those 498, only, and it's still a lot of photos, only 203 made it into these 5 chapters.
Wow.
Now, there are a lot of photos that are pretty close to each other, and that was one of the things that Shane and Desiree looked at. Was, there's 10 photos that look really, really close. I think we only need 1 or 2. So in situations like that, there's a lot of similar photos, but there's not a lot of repetition unless it's really good repetition. Mm-hmm. Like, Al, in one pose looking one way, and then, the next shot of him, all of a sudden he's looking at me. Stuff like that. If there was a reason to have 2 photos that were that similar, they used them. So when you hear, God, there's less than half the, only 1/3 of the black and white photos you shot of all of these things are surfacing, that's still a lot of photos.
Yeah.
And they are truly, they are truly the best of. If I was to say, put out, another book, here's the other, 300 and whatever, 296, you would look at those and go, yeah, I could see why those didn't. or you would certainly not pay $35 for that book. maybe that would be the $27 book.
I think
that would be but the honestly the book has got the 6 chapters contain 203 photos, and but they're the cream of the crop. They are really good, really good photos. And if they're not really, really good, they're just really good. If they're not really good, they're still pretty good. Nobody's going to look at any of these and go, I could have gone all year without seeing that photo. I said, why did they waste a page on that? The fans, everyone's going to love this book. It's a well thought out book. And no thanks to me. I just sent a bunch of photos to them, and they put it all together. I really had, I grouped them, and wrote a little bit about them, and I cleaned them up, and when you're scanning from negatives, and again, these negatives have never been really handled. They went straight into sleeves, and that's pretty much where they've lived for all these years. So there's no danger. They were stored carefully, so there's no deterioration or other weirdness. They really came out. They scanned really, really nice, but occasionally there's a little speck. There's just something I wanted to clean up, so I cleaned up, 498 images.
Wow.
Not knowing that less than half of them would actually get cleaned, but they are in the archive now, and they are there for posterity, and they really, really look great. And the pictures, the handful of pictures from the Ricky and I Love Rocky Road videos that have been out there, and not all of those appear in this book, by the way, but the few of those that appear are seen in the best quality for the first time, because they were taken right from the negatives and are cleaned up, and the density is corrected on them. So whatever chances we took when we were enlarging back in the day, that's done one better. It's done 27 times better now, thanks to Photoshop.
Wow.
And but so I did all of that. So I put in my time on these things, but I'm glad that I did, and look forward to the next 300 rolls of film. And that's going to take a little time. That's going to take some time. But anyway, enough about me and my book, which you can learn more about at Black and White, et cetera, et cetera.
Black and White and WeirdAllOver.com.
Right, E before I, because
or just Black and White and Weird.
If you prefer. If you don't have 5 or 6 or 7 seconds, and really want to see if I'm not just, jerking everyone's booty with this long title, go ahead and type it in and see what happens. I dare you guys. I dare you, because I get 1/100th of a penny per click. So I dare you guys to go to this website and in fact, if you refresh it, I will eventually make a penny. If you refresh it enough time, I think I get a penny. So that would be very cool. That would be the first money I make off this book, is from the website. No, it's not that kind of
website.
It's not that kind of site. It's just, it tells you about the book. It's actually got a nice little audio introduction from me.
Awesome.
There's an about page, and it's got a clip of me talking about the book. I don't think I was able to get it all into 27 seconds, but it talks a little bit about, much of what I've been talking about, except it's a whole lot shorter.
Right.
and so that's on there. At this point, all the videos will be there for all posterity. On the videos, link on the site, and there's a YouTube channel which does nothing more than to serve, to host the videos. So that's guess what the name of that is. That's right, Black and White and Weird All Over. and because it's not a URL, I was able to use the ampersands.
Oh wow!
So it
nice.
is literally Black and White and Weird All Over, and those 4 videos will live there.
Nice.
Until we're all gone.
Right.
Wow. Right.
or until Google goes out of business.
Whichever happens first.
Yeah, that's not likely to. Yeah. So it's everything you need to know is at the site, and depending when you get there, the box set should be available, and there's links to pre-order the book. The book does come out on October 27th, which is a Tuesday. And just in time for makes a great Christmas gift, or a holiday gift of any kind, or just a gift, or a birthday gift, or if you don't celebrate birthdays, it's just a gift, or if you have a coffee table, it goes really good on the coffee table. That's why they call it a coffee table book. and for reference, I know I said the book is 9 by 12, and in portrait it's 12 inches tall. Well, that's roughly the size. It might even be a little bit bigger than Weird Al, the book that came out It's about that size. They will look really good together. So even if you just put it on the bookshelf and want it to sit near the other thing, that would be cool. Or if you feel, you know what, Bermuda didn't get to tour this year, he's probably not doing any gigs. He must make 35 cents a book. Buy a book, then he can eat. During this terrible time. That's terrible. I'm eating fine, but thank you. Don't buy a book because I said so, but please buy my book. No, it's very good, and I'm not just. Well, I am saying that, but you have me on tape, so I did say that.
You did.
It's really.
You did.
Thank you to Matthew and Shane and Desiree for really putting together a terrific book, and to the team that put together the teaser videos. They really they did a terrific job. Al saw those and he's seen all of them, of course, and he thinks they're great. I mean, far better than I could have done on my own. Far better than a self-publisher would have allowed me to do. They would have said, go ahead and make a really rudimentary video. It couldn't hurt, But there would have been nobody on their side to help me with that. I certainly wouldn't have the concept, and they're in the business of selling books to the person that wants to have books printed.
Right.
So that's for this project. In hindsight, and I did explore it at the time 3 years ago. In hindsight, very glad that I didn't go that route. That was not the route to go for this project, and very, very thankful to Mike Duquette. I mean, I cannot thank him enough for reconnecting me, actually, with Matthew, and for Matthew and his team for just doing a fabulous job in getting everything together. I mean, I literally took photos, scanned them, touched them up, shipped them off, wrote a little bit here and there, and they took it from there. So, if anyone's, I'm responsible for the content, but they're completely responsible for the way it's presented, and for making sure that you're able to get it in all the right channels. I mean, you can get it online. We're making it available to all the cool bookstores or the uncool ones. I mean, if anyone that wants to sell this, certainly this is not just an Amazon or Barnes and Noble kind of thing. This is, if you've got a bookstore near you, there's a good chance that unless it's Christian Science Reading Room, they may not. I'm guessing they won't. But beyond that, I'll tell you, I even thought it would be cool to try and get this into the Cal Poly bookstore.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. Except they just sell like books about their courses. They
Oh
just
yeah.
have textbooks. What a campus bookstore that sells textbooks? What's the fun in that? That's so they're going to have to go. They're going to have to go into town to to Cheap Thrills Records or Boo Boo Records or somebody or Barnes and Noble and go in and just buy a book in person. Go off campus and just do it there.
We need a professor to teach a class about the book, and then it will be available there.
Ooh, then we can sell them 100 books.
Yeah.
That's right.
Although given my photography skills of the day, it's probably going to be one of those "don't let this happen to you" kind of books. Here in chapter 3, you see the mistake he made here that he makes on almost every page in every chapter. Yeah, you don't do that. You see the way don't frame it that way. You see how he cut this? Don't cut people off in pictures. Yeah. Don't do that or that or that. But oh well.
Now, I gotta
say la vie.
I gotta ask, and I think I
say
might
la
know.
vie.
Say la vie.
La vie, very good. La vie.
La vie.
Lovey.
I'm sorry.
So
what else? Enough about the book. Geez, we've been talking a year.
No, well, I have one more question. I got at least one more question here.
Okay.
So I think I might know the answer to this, but I have to ask it. What is your favorite picture in the book?
That's really hard. I mean, for a long time, some of my prized photos were, and this is a classic photo. It appeared in the TV Guide at the time. Is that photo from the Ricky video of Al kind of looking, gazing off a little bit to the distance, and fixing his tie a little bit. It's a nice shot. And there was a close up of kind of a head and shoulder shot, which is not the entire shot, I might add, as you will see in the book. But that shot, has appeared a lot. I'm really proud of that. And that's not to say I took a good shot. Just Al looks really good at that, and that's credit to Al. Not to I just happened to click it at the right time. There's a handful of. There's a shot I also really like, and this has been seen a little bit. This is one I think we printed, and it's on the Rocky Road video, and it's Al pointing into the camera, and one of many times I think he does that in the video, but I've got a picture, of course, since I'm not in the scene. I'm off to the side and I've got a picture of him and the camera, and him pointing into the camera, with this sort of,
that's great.
Very energetic look on his face. And there's even an outtake of that appears not in a chapter. Actually, there's 204 pictures. There's this one other version of that appears on the acknowledgments page at the end. That's a version of that where he's got a different look on his face, for what it's worth. But that one picture, and I think it's been seen before. I'm very proud of that one. Can I pick one picture? It's like asking me to pick.
Well, yeah, it's an unfair question. I gotta admit it, but you can pick. You can let us know what some of your favorites are.
Those are certainly two of them. There's and again, there's photos that I literally saw for the first time back in November and December ever. So some of those came to light. Now, why, some of those we didn't choose at the time, but then again, we only printed photos from the first two videos. There were photos that we never printed at all. They went to contact sheets and went in an envelope, and that was the end of it. So we didn't have, some of these have been seen. We had videos that have never been seen. So I literally saw a bunch of those for the first time. There's some really cool shots from Eat It, of Al sitting in the makeup chair with the cat eyes being put on
cool.
him for the ending scene.
Wow.
Which are I believe those were ping pong balls, like cut in half and then painted and then put over his eyes, and his eyes were closed. He was not. There wasn't a little hole that he could see. He was blind. He had to be led over, to the. I think he was on the bed or something, and then look back up into the camera. He had to be led over there. See, now I would actually have a video of this stuff going on with my phone. I would, there'd be a whole different concept of presenting how these videos were shot. Anyway, there's a couple of those that are really good. There's another shot, and this one I don't think was ever, it was never printed, from the Eat It video of Al just kind of standing, waiting to do a dance scene with all the gang members and stuff. Vince is in there off to his side, and it's just a shot, and Al is just kind of standing there. There's not really an expression on his face. He's just kind of waiting for someone to, go action or something like that. And of course, I'm not in almost any of the scenes in the video, so I'm there with a camera. Two cameras, of course, one with color, one with black and white. So that's actually a really nice shot, and that's one of the shots that's also one of the 9x12 frameable pictures. So that is a newly admired shot of mine that I like, that I thought was a good shot. And again, not it's a cool shot because it's very behind the scenes. Al's not looking at the camera. I don't think anybody's looking at the camera. They probably can't even see me. And not because it's technically a good shot. I mean, it's just a shot, but I just sort of captured a moment. And sometimes those are more important than a picture being technically, brilliant, because there's almost no brilliant pictures in here from a technical point of view. They're snapshots. And some of them I got luckier than others. But more than that, I captured some really good moments. And that's what this is all about. It's it's those things that you don't see. They're not just frame grabs from a video and go, now I can see everybody dancing at the end of the Ricky video. There's Dr. Demento. Oh, there's Jim who's dancing, and there's the two bongo players on the floor. No, now it's, now it's an actual clear picture of that, from the negative. It's as clear can be. So, I'm very proud of it. I like a lot of the photos, but if I were to pick one, I can't. I won't. I say nay. I say nay to you. Nay shall I choose one photo.
Now, Bermuda, do you have any recollection or idea of, nearly 40 years ago when you were taking these photos, what you envisioned happening with them? Was it just hey, I'm here, I don't have anything to do, I have a camera, I like to shoot pictures, or do you think there was any kind of a glimpse of like, oh, this would make a cool book in 35 years?
No, and not really even at the time. I took photos because that's just what I did.
Okay.
I mean, I took photos of everything anyway. And when I met Al, it's like, why not him too? Was he special? Was he Jewish? Do I not take photos of him? Jeez. I continue to take photos as I had for years before. Mm-hmm. And I guess I first was aware that somebody cared about the photos I took. Obviously, there was no internet back in the early 80s, so it wasn't like, I have an outlet for these. I don't know what I had planned to do with them, but I was happy and flattered and made a couple of bucks, and I do mean a couple of bucks, by having them. I mean, some of the photos got published. My color and and those handful of black and whites from those first two videos were published in the Authorized Al book. There were some that were published in the permanent record box set with the booklet in there. I think I have 27 photos in there, as it happens.
Wow.
That are photos that I shot or were taken with my camera. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I had a sense kind of early on that they had a purpose, but I didn't have any sense of to what extent they could be used, much less that someday there would be a worldwide platform upon which I could upload these things and have people see them around the world and enjoy those because there was really no other way to get them out there unless you had them on a TV show or unless you had them published somewhere. So, and honestly, the idea of a photo book really sort of, even with all these years of and amassing photos, I don't think it really struck me until like 3 years ago when I saw these new photos. I thought, well, here's something that no one's ever seen. These really deserve to be in a book. These could be a book. These are different and they're special. And they're special because they're black and white as well. And there was a period in time, and again, and I'll go back to the quality of photos in the book. They're not all great, but you get a bunch of old bad photos of the Beatles and put them in a book, and people still want to see them because it's the Beatles. And this is Al, and he's still around, and he's alive longer than half of those guys.
Yeah.
So and still making new music. I haven't heard peep from them in like 50 years. I don't know what's up. I mean, their first 9 albums were terrific, and then they split up, like they all went their separate ways.
Yeah, well.
The Beatles, but people are still buying. Every once in a while a new thing comes out, and it's like, geez, these photos are atrocious. How great! How cool they are! It's Ringo having a sandwich in the studio. I haven't seen that before. So that's the kind of book this is, except it's not Ringo and it's not a sandwich. And it's also not the Beatles, but almost as good. Almost as good.
I would argue better, but that's my personal taste.
I would argue. I'll say it's even better than the Beatles.
Yes.
All right.
Bermuda, while we have you on the phone, we got to ask you about just a couple things that have just happened recently. So a few weeks ago, I was on American Dad singing Rabotage. Did you have anything to do with that song, or did the show put together the music?
I've never, no. Wow. That sounds pretty cool. I'm going to have to look that up. I bet it's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I'd not heard of that. I mean, he tells me about some of the other stuff he's doing, but he doesn't tell me, like I don't ttell him what I'm doing with my bands. So, if he's got a project on his own, he may or may not mention it, or when it's done, he may say, hey, if you got nothing better to do, tune into this. I got a little thing on there. No, I did not know about that. However, I do know about other things.
Right.
But I don't know about that. And you're going to have to trust me about these other things. I can't really. If I say anything now, he's going to take his forward back. We're going to have to rip that page out all the time. And if we rip out the one page, it's on the back side of my intro, so it's going to take out half my intro. So I'd rather, I can see him going from bookstore to bookstore, just pulling these pages out and then posting it on YouTube or something. I can picture.
It'd be good promotion.
No, not for the book with only 117 pages. 217. There's like, it's a 218 page book or something. It's 218 pages. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
that's a
footage.
lot of fun.
That is, yeah.
So to answer again, no, I did not hear about it.
How about when I was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon? There was a backing track of One More Minute. Were you involved in that backing track at all?
No. Actually, Al put that together himself
Oh wow.
in his home. So no, not me.
Have you done anything with Al?
For 2.
No, I sadly I got him to approve all the photos and write a forward, and he was out of my hair.
Now I know that this question is maybe over asked at this point, and the answer is pretty clear. But do we know anything about what kind of tour may happen or may not happen for next year?
Well, we do. we know what kind of tour we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
When I say doing, that's assuming that I mean the plan was, and it's not a giant secret. We were going out early next year. We were going to head out, I think, as early as January.
Wow.
And that all went to heck earlier, and actually back in March, when this was just really becoming an obvious problem, and that it wasn't going away. William Morris said, we're going to delay booking anything until a little later in the year, next year.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. And I don't have a start date. We would certainly, if everything gets back to normal, by whenever, by say spring or even by summer, and everyone's comfortable with going back out to concerts and being in a bus together and people sitting in seats next to each other. The plan is to go on the road next year at some point. And that's all I can say. And we do have a theme for the tour. So, we know what we want to do, and we're hoping everything gets back to normal for a lot of reasons. But, the sooner the better. And, we'll be able to go out and tour and do what we do, which would be very cool. I mean, frankly, I haven't been playing drums at all with anybody. I mean, there's no places to play, so I haven't played with anybody since my last gig was March 10th.
Wow.
Which is let's see, January from March 3, 8. It's 5 months ago. Wow. 5, like FIVE 5, not number 5. like in bold and italicized. 5 months ago. Just to be safe. Okay. So, I really, for a lot of reasons, it would be great if everything would just, let's get a vaccine, everybody take it, and a week later we're all just back out there like nothing happened. And, well, no, you know what? That's how it always is. Every crisis, whatever it is, any kind of crisis, once it's over, and it's not like you forget it, but once it's over, everything is back to normal like it never happened.
Yeah.
And that's how this is going to go. I mean, and not right away. Not everybody's going to take their mask off right away the day there's a vaccine. But I mean, that will go away. People will be sitting next to each other at sporting events and concerts and in restaurants and, lining up outside of Target. No, actually, they'll let everybody into Target now because you don't have to live in. We can only have 104 people in the store at a time. Have a little counter at the front. Everybody else wait out 6 feet apart. Yeah. See, I wish I'd had the concession for all those little labels they put on the ground that, social distance, keep 6 feet apart. Those blue triangles. Because there's millions of those.
Yeah.
If I'd thought for a minute back in March that this was going to last, I would have just, I would have printed that instead of the book.
The special edition comes with a floor sticker.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, 4 stickers, I'm telling you. Hand sanitizer stands. I could have made a killing. Wow. Oh, well, next time. In another 100 years, there'll be another pandemic. And I'll just I'll leave a note somewhere and somebody will think of it.
So you mentioned that, of course, you work with Mike Duquette, who we've had on the podcast on a previous episode. And we've also had Sam Anderson, the writer of the New York Times Magazine article on. And he mentioned that while he was out there researching the article, that he stopped by your place. So what kind of access and interactions did you have with Sam Anderson?
Well, Sam went through all my stuff as well. Again, while I wasn't here. No, have I told that joke? Okay. No, Sam was great. Of course, we met him on the road. He traveled with us for like a day and a half, and we saw him a couple of other times. And he was great. He'd come out to L.A. to, I think, spend some time with Al. I think he sat down with Jim. I think he sat down with Steve. He sat down with me. Now, almost none of what we said got used. I mean, nothing I said got used. This was, and again, it's okay because it was a tremendously thorough article on Al without any of our stuff. But he did talk to us, and I think some of that was part of how he was able to get some questions answered, by Al. He was able to get some information and
Right.
go with that.
Right.
It's not like I expected to be quoted in the New York Times, but it was really well done. He was great. He was a really nice guy. We did go through and I think we chose some photos. I don't recall. I think he took some scans from me, and but he was great to work with. We sat for like 2 or 3 or 4 hours and just chewed the fat and looked at photos and I think I opened up a couple of boxes of the archive.
Very cool.
And did you have any access with Lily Hirsch for her Weird Al Seriously book as well?
Well, she contacted me and wanted to see the archive. That was the first thing. I'm writing a book on Al and taking a serious look at his songs, and I was wondering if I could come down and see the archive. She's up in Bakersfield, which is a little bit north of LA, and she wanted to come down and go through the archives. And I said, well, I don't know how much good that's going to do, really, to, unless you're printing stuff. And I mean, frankly, I've got a lot of that stuff scanned already because I had done a lot of that stuff for the box set. I mean, between the Weird Al book and the box set book, I've got so much stuff scanned and in high res that I almost don't need to go back into that stuff at all. I mean, everything I want to see is already digitized. Mm-hmm. So I kind of offered that up. I said, well, you're welcome to whatever I have. She said, well, I'd really like to, I sort of want to go through this stuff and really get a feel for it. And eventually I said, well, I bill a certain amount for my time, and going through this, for scanning photos and everything else, and if you want to go through my stuff, I mean, I'm on the clock. And she said, no, got it. No, that's okay. Never mind. So I did go through the stuff that I had digitized for these other projects and pulled out, 23 or 25 or 27 photos or something and sent those to her, and most or maybe all of which ended up in the book. And she sent me a copy of the book, which is very nice.
That's awesome.
And it's a very good book.
It's
very well written, and
yeah.
It was pretty cool. But that was the extent of the interaction. I know she sat down in person with Al, and but she didn't do that with me. Everything was by email. I may have actually talked with her on the phone, but I was able to talk her out of coming through and going through all my stuff. It's really. The last time I really went through my stuff was when Mike Duquette actually came out and shot some videos of me going through it to use as teasers for the box set.
Those were great. Those were great videos.
And we didn't really, I mean, I literally opened up a box and they just had the iPhone rolling or whatever, and I'd pull stuff out of there and start talking about it. I mean, there was no, can you find this? I want to tell a story about that. It was like, I just opened a box and I was seeing those things for the first time in years, some of them. So, I showed them the twig of the strand from the twine ball that I have that they let me take.
Wow. It's nice to stroll down memory lane or memory box or whatever it is,
with this stuff now and then, and at some point I'll go through those boxes again, but I didn't think, honestly, there wasn't a need to do it, for the book, and I sent her photos at no charge, I should add, and the book turned out very cool. So that was my interaction with her.
Now, I think the most important thing, just for the last, however many months, was the Spatula City parody that Dave and I put out a few weeks ago.
Oh yes, very good. That was great. I love that. Where did you get that track? It sounds so much like ours. Wow, that was really cool. They must have you must have photoshopped the audio or something and taken out the book.
That's right.
Audio shop, I guess.
Yes, however we did that. Thank you to that process. Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks for your help on that.
Well, you guys did a terrific job. It was very cool. Very cool to get MG Kelly in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. He was very helpful and very enthusiastic when we asked him if he would be willing to do something like that.
Well, I'll tell you, you guys have dug really, really deep, and I don't mean just talking to Ruben, but you have really, you have talked to him, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Okay, all right. Because that's usually the extent of the Al project. You got Al and Jim and Stephen Bermuda and then that Ruben guy and yeah. No, you guys. I mean, you found the guy that played Conan the Barbarian on. God, it's incredible. Just and the girl that was in the Wheel of 50. Where do you dig these people up? And the guy, speaking of digging up, the guy that was in the cemetery. God, you really, you could write if you didn't have a podcast, you could write a book.
Yeah, that's true.
You could write several books.
We'll have to branch out into publishing next.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have any of us in it. It wouldn't even have to have any of us in it. Not Jay, not Demento, not Al, not the band. No, but not the engine. You could just talk to all of the people that were there.
Yeah.
And that would be good enough.
Yeah, that's the idea behind the podcast. We want to talk to as many people that work with Al as possible in as many capacities as possible.
Wow. Now, I know that you want to do 2,000 of these.
Yes.
I'm not. I think when you get around 800 or 900, it's going to start getting a little thin.
We've had you on a few times.
Well, I'll come back and I'll do it.
Okay.
Was that in 20 years? You better make it 10.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just going to have to do a couple more projects so we can have some more people to call upon once it gets to that point.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
To increase the crew budget.
Or you just start going through the fans. I mean, I know you've had some of the more prominent fans on there.
Yeah.
But now you just start interviewing people waiting in line for the next show.
We'll get there eventually. But yeah, I mean, just, the people that we find are all amazing and everyone has been incredible. And we just have a list of ideas I think we probably have 2,000 ideas. So there's no shortage of great people to talk to.
Wow. Well, you guys have done a wonderful job, and I'm very thank you for talking to me more than once, and also letting me talk about the book and the things as they are in this bizarre year of ours, in this bizarre 2020 year. But we will get past it, and it'll get back pretty much to normal. It's going to be, we'll still talk about it, but without the masks and gloves, and we'll be able to stand face to face and sit in a restaurant and not have to get stuff brought out to the curb.
Right.
Looking forward to that day when that happens again.
Did I mention the website in the last 45 minutes?
No, but let us mention it. You have to. If you're listening to this podcast, there is absolutely no excuse for you not to go to blackandwhiteandweirdallover.com or blackandwhiteandweird.com and pre-order this book. I cannot imagine someone is listening to our podcast and have not already pre-ordered this book.
That works. I'll buy that. And they know how to spell. They know how to spell weird, right? By now.
I hope so.
Because I'll tell you, with WeirdAl.com, and I did this, 23 years ago when I set up the domain.
Mm-hmm.
I got not only spelled correctly, E before I. That's weird. WEIRDAL.com. I also set up, for those people that are stupid, WIERDAL. And if you've never thought about that before, go to WIER, like that other rule that sounds similar, right? Something about,
Right.
and go to the other domain and see what happens when you type that in. That's right, it goes to the real WeirdAl.com. So I knew that back then. Now, we weren't quite that diligent this time, so you're going to have to spell weird correctly. I did not want to spend the extra $10 to have it black and white and WIERDAL.
Well,
LOVER if you have 7 seconds. And who knows what's going to happen if somebody steals that and does something stupid. It's not my fault.
Dave, I think you know what we need to do.
I was going to say, if nothing else, at least this book will help people learn how to spell the word weird.
It's important. It's important. Like that movie, Weird Science.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
I don't think it was about science. It was a grammar lesson. Both words don't fit correctly, but whatever. I mean, right? Science.
Right.
Okay. And weird, or black and white and weird all over.com, if you prefer. Okay. Anyway, have I mentioned the site in the last 4.5 seconds? I suspect they got it.
Yeah.
I don't want these last 2 hours to sound like it was just a plug for the book. I mean, there's more to me. There's more to you. There's more to Al. But not this week, because this is the week that it all got announced.
That's
this
right.
is the week, August 10th.
That's right.
It all hit the fan,
That's right.
or the internet, whichever you.
That's right.
And the Entertainment Weekly thing launched it. They wanted an exclusive, and I thought that's very cool. I'll take it. You guys can take it. But just so you know, the instant we see it on your site, we're going to put it everywhere else too. So you get the exclusive for about a minute, and then we're on it. We're going to be on it, because everywhere you go, it's this stinking book's going to be in your face.
Well, it will certainly be in everyone's ears every week of this podcast. We'll tell people, we'll beg people, we'll make sure this book gets printed into a second edition so that we can have more stuff to collect.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you know what? They will, if people buy it, if they come, no, if we print it, no. If they need more books, they'll print it. Don't worry.
Okay.
I don't know. That's the long way of saying that. I don't know how many. Actually, I don't know how many they're printing. They already obviously have a number because they're already in progress. Even though we're not going to see them in person for a little bit, but they're already in progress. So it's not like we're waiting for pre-orders. Say, well, 10,000 people ordered books, so we'll print 15,000.
Well, there'll be at least 250 copies of the book printed.
There's at least those. And with the photo and the certificate and the box and the different cover and the silver gilding, which is very, very cool. And it's a very nice package. But hurry up on those. If you want one, you got to hurry, because they will go fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they will go fastly, I guess. Quickly. They will go quickly. These word clubs.
Bermuda, thank you so much for joining us, telling us all about the book. I cannot wait until October 27th. This is going to be amazing.
Well, cool. Well, I'm thank you again so much. I really appreciate being on again, and I hope people are enjoying what they see on the site, and hope they enjoy the teaser videos. And the book will exist in October.
What a great interview. It is always so much fun to talk to John Bermuda Schwartz. He is so full of fabulous Weird Al information, and his new book is going to be so awesome. I'm so excited to get my hands on this new book.
It is going to be so awesome. Now, so Dave, we actually recorded this a couple weeks ago, and we had to keep all the information completely secret, and it was burning us up inside. But I'm so glad that it's finally out there. Everyone's now heard the interview. They know all the information we know. We actually spent an extra hour on the phone with Bermuda besides the 2 hours of the interview. So we heard a lot of stuff, and we were just bursting at the seams with excitement for so long. So it's all out there. Finally, everyone's got to hear it. We got to see all the teasers. I love those teaser videos, Dave.
Oh, those teaser videos are amazing. I love all that rare, never heard before audio and all the pictures that go along with it. Oh, man. Oh, those teaser videos are great.
Yeah, I cannot stop checking those videos out. I'm definitely going to be ripping the audio, downloading the videos off YouTube. I'm going to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we do want to, again, thank our Patreon supporters. They all got to hear the full uncut interview last week, and they didn't have to wait for this week. I don't even know if they're listening this week since they got to listen last week, but hopefully they're listening.
I hope they're listening this week, and if any of you who aren't our Patreon supporters want to listen to the entire John Bermuda Schwartz interview without having to listen to 2 different episodes of Dave and Ethan's 2000 Inch Weird Al podcast, you can head on over to patreon.com/2000inch, and you can hear the entire John Bermuda Schwartz interview again.
Once again, we want to wish a happy birthday to John Bermuda Schwartz, and we want to thank him for giving us that first exclusive interview since the book was announced. That was just so much fun. It was such a privilege to get to chat with him. And not only is he full of Weird Al knowledge, he is just so funny. I could not stop laughing listening back to that interview.
Oh, yeah, John Bermuda Schwartz, he's such a great guy, such a nice guy, and such a good friend of the podcast. All right, Ethan, each week we can bring you this podcast absolutely free thanks to sponsors like Brito, Angel Valenzuela and his son David Cash, and our brand new sponsor, Jackson Scoggins, as well as all of our amazing Patreon supporters like Javier, Joe, and so many more.
Patreon helps us pay the bills and ensures that we can continue doing what we love, and that's making fun, family-friendly, entertaining Weird Al podcasts for you each and every week.
Please join us in thanking all of our supporters over on patreon.com/2000inch for making this podcast possible. And please consider joining our Patreon family for as little as $1 per month.
Another way to support the podcast is by purchasing merchandise from the official Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast shop. Head over to shop.2000inch.com for some amazing merchandise. We just added some brand new merchandise featuring our inverted logo. We took our logo and we inverted it, and it looks pretty stinking majestic, Dave. I don't know how else to describe it. I love our regular non-inverted logo, but I also really love the inverted logo. You can put it on a dark t-shirt, you can put it on a tank top, and we also just added, only available with the inverted logo, zip-up sweatshirts. Now, Dave, I don't know about your opinion on sweatshirts, but I won't wear them unless they are zip-up. And these look really nice. On the front, on the chest, it's our inverted logo. And on the back is an inverted Gill and Chill design. These are going to be the coolest zip-up hoodies you've ever seen. Head over to shop.2000inch.com for those great items and more.
Oh, I'm so excited to check out those inverted logos and those new zip-up shirts. Oh, they sound amazing. This week, we were blown away by the pictures you guys sent of yourselves wearing our merchandise. Our good friend Vincent Anderson posted a picture of himself over on our Facebook group, group.2000inch.com, of him wearing his brand new green Gill and Chill shirt. And that brought along a great discussion about our merchandise. And our friend Allison Parsons, she posted a picture of her wearing her green Gill and Chill shirt. So now I think I need to go out and get myself a green Gill and Chill t-shirt. Allison had this great comment that she posted. She said that she had to explain the shirt to someone, and she was so excited about it. I'm excited that she was excited that she got to talk about Gill and Chill. So if you've got pictures of yourself wearing merchandise, or you just want to hang out with other fans of our podcast, be sure to join our Facebook group by heading on over to group.2000inch.com if you have not already.
Thanks again to John Bermuda Schwartz and all of our listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and thanks to everyone who follows at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do your part and tag fun, Weird Al, or podcast-related posts on social media using hashtag 2000inch and hashtag Gill and Chill.
Follow us online at 2000inch.com or weirdalpodcast.com. That's weird with WEIRD. Make sure you share our posts, tell your friends about the podcast, and we love it when you leave us voice messages on our 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347 Spatula. You might even hear your message on the air.
The 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, is sponsored by Angel Valenzuela and David Cash, two amazing Weird Al fans and podcast supporters who just love the 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You already know where to find us, but do yourselves a favor and head on over to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pandora, or the podcast app of your choice and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe now. This way you do not miss a single episode. New episodes drop every single Wednesday.
Dave, now that we have an inverted logo, maybe we should do an inverted episode sometime.
Well, next week's episode is episode 69-inch. 69, that kind of makes a good number for an inverted episode. 69, it's a number that can be read the same both upside down and right side up.
Wow, great idea. Let's practice.
We're not here on Mount.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 68-inch.
That's the kind of book this is, except it's not Ringo and it's not a sandwich. Don't buy a book because I said so, but please, please buy my book.